how do you use hardware gear with Ableton? Like, how do you tell Ableton this MIDI clip? How do you tell this MIDI clip to play this thing? You can see it's playing it. It's pretty easy. I'll go over it. If I save as, so let's say you just bought this Pulsar-23. You want Ableton to play it. The sequencer on this thing is fire, by the way, but I'm just faster with Ableton. What you'll need is some sort of either MIDI port, or there's a lot of USB to MIDI that would work. You want to set that up in your preferences. And if you can see, I use a U6 MIDI Pro. If you Google that, U6 MIDI Pro, maybe I'll put it in the video description. It's reasonably priced. It's just a MIDI port, and I have it, I just have it track enabled, so that Ableton will send MIDI out to my Pulsar. Real simple. So you have Ableton here sending MIDI signals to the Octa. Not the Octa, the Pulsar. Sorry, I have this film in my Octa half the time. Sick. Draw a MIDI clip. Shift Command M. Open that up. If you go over to your Pulsar, there is a Learn button on each of these modules. You hold this button down and you click C, or on your MIDI keyboard, whatever you want, hit C. I'm pressing the A button on my keyboard, and it's right there. You do the same thing for the other modules. That's the snare and the hi-hat. And then what I like to do is create another track, MIDI track. We'll go over to I think it's MIDI port 2, MIDI port 2, channel 2, and I'll switch over to my Pulsar. When I'm learning the bass, I have it on this channel. Hit your C. There it is. And that's so that you can play bass notes. I have it in perk mode, but if you come over here, you can, up here you switch it over to MIDI. Now you have bass lines. So that's how I've been using it. And obviously you can start patching, going nuts here. We'll get to that too. This pattern here. I had it. And then it's just fun from there. It's just all fun from there. You can, as Ableton plays it, you can patch away, go nuts. And I think I did with this track. I don't remember the patch at all. I'm not organized enough for that yet. Maybe one day. To help with envelopes. You know, maybe shorten up that hi-hat. But I think my favorite feature is playing with the, what are these pegs, the screws? endless fun. Endless fun right there. So, you know, we just made that patch and you could just track it out. This simple. Yeah, and see, while we did that, I added that. I set that locator so we can. So I liked that section. You know, you disable the track, listen back. And then you can chop, you know, chop this up. Boom. Do whatever you want, man. It's, possibilities are endless, and it's a really, really fun instrument. Stretch it out. Yeah. Just boom. Yeah. Loops for days. So I'm already getting carried away. So that's how I use the Pulsar with Ableton right now. I'm sure it's going to change, but it's a blast. It's been a blast. So let's say you get that program, just that programming, just like I showed you, and you find some patterns you like. One thing you'll hear a lot online, and you'll notice, depending on your style and what you're working on, like you'll be like, oh, these tracks or these sounds from the Pulsar are cool, but I could beef them up. Just modern music, a lot of hardware gear. You'd have to mix it a lot to get it to hit the way a lot of digital music hits and the way people expect to hear it. And so I went in and I layer stuff, and it's cool because it still has the vibe. You know, it still has this vibe. It just hits harder. You know, it has the kick that hits you in the chest. It has a snare body that's hard enough, but it still has this vibe. And, you know, and how I got that, I kind of built this track, this pattern around this loop that I got from Splice. Oh, this is like a Dome of Doom pack. That's Ahi packs are dope. I built around it. This is the Pulsar stuff. I actually chopped it up quite a bit. Yeah, I see. Those are the Pulsar kicks. I separated them from the clap. A real easy way to do that too. Another side quest. Let's say you want to mix this. You know, everyone's like, oh, I need a million cables and a million inputs. You could just go like this, man. Just go in. You got your kicks here and your claps, and you want to separate them. Go in, and as long as it's reasonably quantized, you know, you highlight your claps, press Command E on each one. Command E on each one. You and what I'll usually do is just duplicate the track and select each one that has the kicks, each clip that has the kicks, press 0, the claps on the bottom one, press 0, and you've separated it. There's probably faster ways to do it too. Like, I'm sure there's people who've come up with a quicker way to do it. But now you have tons of control. See? Control over the clip. And that's basically what I did here. And as you notice, you have your intro. If you notice, I have an intro. Still sounds bigger than the original recording. I heard Skrillex talk about this recently, but he swears by a TR-909 snare. If you're in sound design, you can't go wrong putting a TR-909 under just about any snare, because it has like a thump in the mid-range that just sits correctly, you know, because that's a cool clap, but it needs a little body, and it just gives it a good snap. And as you can see, put some nudge on there because it just felt right. And then I had this, there's that new Mr. Bill pack, came out a month or two ago. It's real fire. I just put the noise, a good texture here, and that's how we made the clap. And then obviously there's some processing, not even though, just a little EQ on the Pulsar recording. Nothing crazy. I'll show you. Yeah, just a bandpass thing, and then yes, and then I layered the kick with a cashmere kick. I don't care what anyone says, dude. Cashmere sounds like, I don't know about the song starters or whatever, but his drums are a great source material because it's just mixed, it's done. You're not sound designing, or you're not trying to make it hit a certain way. It's there. Sound source is solid, so you can work on just messing it up, if anything, because his stuff is so perfect. You could just go throw it in Ableton, and then you make it worse, and you're like, okay, because he's like a pop guy. But it just knocks. This is it by itself. I put some knock on it. Shout out Decap. These settings. Another bandpass EQ, minimal stuff, and then I bumped up the gain a bunch. Without, with, you know, a good knock and kick, but as you can see, even in the waveform, not a lot of body. Great transient, great texture. That on top is very cool, but it's just not going to hold up next to modern kicks. But you throw that cashmere kick with no processing under it, and this kick is like, look at this under the microscope. Yeah, it's like there's no texture there. It's just it's a digitally clipped sine wave that just not much character, but it hits your chest. So you put this Pulsar kick on top of it. Now you have a kick that's barking.